What the moon is doing to your energy right now is not random, and it's not symbolic in the poetic sense most people think. It's practical, subtle, and happening whether you believe in it or not. The moon doesn't need your attention to influence you, it already does. The real question is whether you're aware enough to notice how. Think about this for a moment. The moon controls the tides. Entire oceans rise and fall because of its gravitational pull. And yet, many people assume that the human body, which is mostly water, somehow exists outside of that influence. That assumption alone explains why so many feel emotionally overwhelmed without understanding why. You don't suddenly become more sensitive, tired, restless, or introspective for no reason. Often, those shifts align perfectly with lunar movement. Have you ever noticed certain nights when sleep feels lighter? When dreams become unusually vivid or emotionally charged? Or days when your patience is thinner, your thoughts louder, your emotions closer to the surface? That's not weakness. That's responsiveness. The moon amplifies what already exists inside you. It doesn't create chaos, it reveals imbalance right now. Whatever phase the moon is in, it's interacting with your internal state. If you've been avoiding emotions, they may feel harder to suppress. If you've been pushing yourself too hard, fatigue can surface more clearly. If you've been aligned, grounded, and honest with yourself, you may feel unusually calm, clear, or inspired. The moon doesn't judge. It highlights. Ancient civilizations understood this deeply. They didn't plan randomly. They planted, rested, healed, and reflected according to lunar cycles. Not out of superstition, but observation. They noticed patterns long before modern life distracted us from noticing anything at all. We've lost sensitivity, not intelligence. Here's an example that many people experience but rarely connect to the moon. Emotional resurfacing. Old memories returning unexpectedly. A sudden urge to withdraw, reflect, or question your direction. People often say, "I don't know why I feel like this." But there is a why. Lunar energy pulls things upward, just like tides. Suppressed emotions are part of that internal ocean. When the moon's influence increases, emotional honesty becomes harder to avoid. This is why certain phases feel heavier, even without external problems. It's not that life is getting worse. It's that your inner world is being illuminated more strongly, and illumination isn't always comfortable. What most people get wrong is thinking lunar energy is mystical and abstract. In reality, it's rhythmic, cyclical, predictable. The problem isn't that the moon affects you. The problem is living out of sync with it. Forcing action when the energy supports rest. Ignoring intuition when reflection is favored. Pushing productivity during moments meant for recalibration. Modern life rewards constant output. The moon does not. It rewards awareness right now. Your energy is being nudged in a specific direction. Maybe toward slowing down. Maybe toward release. Maybe toward intention. The moon doesn't ask you to change your life overnight. It asks you to notice what feels heavier than usual, and what feels lighter when you imagine letting go. If this resonates, pause for a second. Take a breath. And if you value content that helps you understand yourself beyond surface level motivation, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It supports deeper conversations like this reaching the people who need them. We're just at the beginning. There's much more to understand about how the moon influences not only your emotions, but your decisions, energy levels, and even the timing of change itself. What becomes even more interesting is how the moon doesn't just influence how you feel, but what you are drawn to do, and what suddenly feels draining. This is where many people get confused. They think motivation is something constant, something you either have or don't. In reality, motivation is deeply tied to energetic timing. And the moon is one of the strongest timekeepers your body responds to. Have you ever had days where pushing forward feels almost painful, as if every task requires double the effort? And other days where ideas flow effortlessly, conversations feel natural, and clarity appears without force. That difference is not laziness versus discipline. It's alignment versus resistance. When lunar energy supports introspection and release, forcing productivity creates friction. When it supports initiation and clarity, hesitation feels uncomfortable. Right now, the moon is interacting with your nervous system, subtly adjusting sensitivity levels. That's why emotions can feel closer to the surface. You may feel more affected by words, memories, or environments that normally wouldn't move you as much. This isn't a flaw. It's heightened perception. The problem only arises when you judge yourself for it or try to numb it instead of listening. Consider how many arguments begin during emotionally charged days. Not because people suddenly become worse communicators, but because unspoken feelings rise too fast to be filtered. The moon accelerates emotional truth. If something has been bothering you quietly, lunar energy tends to remove the mute button. This is also why intuition feels stronger during certain periods. You might not have logical proof, but you know. You sense when something is off. You feel when a decision isn't aligned. That inner signal is always present, but lunar influence turns up its volume. Ignoring it during these times often leads to regret later, not because the intuition disappears, but because you overruled it when it was at its clearest. Another overlooked effect is physical energy. Sleep cycles, appetite, and even muscle recovery can shift. Some nights, rest feels shallow. Others, deeply restorative. The mistake most people make is assuming the body is malfunctioning instead of adapting. Lunar cycles invite fluctuation. Fighting that fluctuation creates exhaustion. Working with it creates resilience. Here's a grounded example. Think of someone who feels an unexplained urge to clean, declutter, or reorganize during certain times. This isn't random. It's energetic release seeking a physical outlet. When emotions surface, the body looks for motion. Ignoring that urge often results in restlessness or irritation. Following it brings relief. The moon also influences endings. This is critical. Many people feel sudden clarity around what they no longer tolerate, certain habits, dynamics, or self-betrayals. These realizations aren't impulsive. They are cumulative. The moon simply reveals the final truth you've been circling for a long time. That's why decisions made during these periods can feel firm, calm, and irreversible. This doesn't mean you must act immediately on every feeling. Awareness comes first. Observation without judgment is key. Ask yourself simple questions. Why does this feel heavier now? What keeps repeating in my thoughts? What feels ready to be released? Answers don't need to be forced. They arrive when you stop drowning them out. If you're finding this perspective helpful and want more content that connects inner awareness with real-life experience, this is a good moment to subscribe and leave a like. It helps keep this kind of grounded, reflective content alive. The moon isn't here to disrupt your life. It's here to recalibrate it. It reminds you that constant forward motion isn't natural. Cycles are. Expansion requires contraction. Growth requires pause. Ignoring that rhythm doesn't make you stronger, it makes you disconnected. Stay with this awareness. In the final part, we'll talk about how to work with the moon instead of unconsciously fighting it, and how that changes your energy in a very practical way. When you stop resisting the moon's rhythm and begin working with it, your energy stops leaking. Life doesn't suddenly become perfect, but it becomes clearer, lighter, more intentional. You no longer waste effort swimming against invisible currents you didn't even know were there. Working with the moon doesn't require rituals, crystals, or complicated practices. It starts with awareness and respect for cycles. The moon teaches one essential lesson modern life ignores: not every moment is meant for action. Some moments are meant for release. Others for reflection. Others for planting intentions quietly before they grow. Right now, whatever phase the moon is in, it's asking something specific of you. Maybe it's asking you to slow down and rest instead of forcing productivity. Maybe it's asking you to confront a truth you've been postponing. Maybe it's asking you to let something end so something else can begin. Resistance shows up as frustration. Cooperation shows up as relief. Here's a simple, grounded way to apply this immediately. When you notice emotional intensity, don't ask, "What's wrong with me?" Ask, "What is being highlighted right now?" That shift alone changes everything. Instead of judging the feeling, you listen to it. Instead of suppressing it, you extract information from it. Emotions become data, not enemies. Another practical shift: timing your decisions. Notice how some days feel wrong for big choices. Your thoughts loop, your body feels tense, clarity feels unreachable. That's not indecision, that's misalignment. Waiting during these moments isn't procrastination, it's intelligence. When the energy shifts, decisions that felt impossible suddenly feel obvious. People who live in sync with cycles don't rush clarity. They recognize it. They allow answers to ripen instead of forcing them early. This is why some people appear calm even during uncertainty. They trust timing more than pressure. There's also a profound benefit to honoring lunar energy in rest. Guilt-free rest. Not rest as collapse, but rest as restoration. When you allow yourself to slow down when your energy naturally dips, you recover faster. You stop burning yourself out just to meet expectations that ignore human rhythm. Think about how nature works. Trees don't grow all year. Fields aren't harvested constantly. Everything has seasons. You are not separate from that intelligence. The moon simply reminds you of it. When you start aligning with this rhythm, you'll notice subtle but powerful changes. Emotional waves pass faster. Decisions feel cleaner. Your intuition sharpens because it's no longer drowned out by constant noise. You stop over-explaining yourself. You stop chasing urgency. You start moving with purpose, and perhaps the most important shift, you stop fighting yourself. If this video has helped you see your energy differently and you want to keep exploring content like this, now is the perfect moment to subscribe and leave a like. It supports the creation of deeper, more conscious conversations in a world that desperately needs them. The moon isn't controlling you. It's communicating with you. And the moment you start listening, your life stops feeling random. Patterns emerge. Timing makes sense. And instead of asking why you feel the way you do, you begin to understand when, and that understanding brings peace. So tonight, when you look up at the sky or simply feel a shift within you, don't dismiss it. Pause. Notice. Ask what's being revealed. Not everything needs to be acted on immediately. Some things just need to be acknowledged. The moon isn't doing something to you. It's showing you something about yourself, and when you learn to listen, your energy finally stops working against you and starts working for you.